Joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show once again from NBA TV from Turner Sports is David Aldridge. How are you, David?
Richard, I'm fine. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. The Cavaliers did. I mean, they uncorked something, it seems, in the city of Cleveland, David. It's unbelievable.
Well, they've been blocked up for 52 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That finger's been in that dam for quite some time.
Exactly.
So where do you stand on Durant's future as we are getting set for the sweepstakes, David?
I think right now I would say there's really two teams. I mean, either he goes back to OKC or he's sent to Golden State. The other scenarios are plausible. I can't see him going to Miami if he doesn't know what Bosh's situation is going forward, and you don't know if Whiteside's coming back. That's not as, it's not something that's said. If you knew those two were definitely coming back, they would definitely be in play. But until you don't know that. The scenario of Boston is, I think I've always been told that, Durant has interest in Boston, but he wants to see them get another star player first. If they were able to sign Al Horford immediately, early in free agency, then maybe that becomes more plausible. The Spurs, I don't see the fit there. I think he and LaMarcus use up a lot of the same real estate on the floor. They're both kind of mid-post players. They like to face the basket, shoot at the elbows. They're both, I'm not sure who would defer to who in that scenario. And the Clippers, I mean, if they really are trying to sell him on a big four, he's going to take less money. I mean, he could take less money. Look, he's getting $300 million from Nike, so he could take less money, but why would you if you didn't have to? And he doesn't have to. So to me, it's Golden State and OKC.
So what is OKC's pitch to him? You mentioned Al Horford. Is it something like that? Is it something like, okay, you saw the moves we made draft night, and we're going to add another piece, so why don't you stay? Sure.
I mean, that's a scenario. They have always been interested in Pau Gasol. That's another scenario. So there's guys that they could get to play the four, I think, that would enhance them. But I think more than that, even if they didn't get anybody else, I think it's just the idea that, they've put a really good team around him. And the Ibaka trade was something that he seems to have signed off on. Bringing in Oladipo and Ilyasova gives them, two players that are going to be in the rotation next year. So, I think they've done just about everything right if you go back and look. Now, you can go back and relitigate the hard thing if you want, but the bottom line is they wound up getting Steven Adams out of that trade, and Steven Adams has been pretty doggone good the last couple of years.
I thought that stuff, but, we hear about Ibaka being traded on draft night and what you just said, that Durant probably signed off on it and that the OKC folks maybe went up to him and said, what do you think of this before pulling the trigger? How come people, when they comment, don't have an issue with that? But LeBron, I mean, if he decides who he wants to play with or who coaches the team, then he gets all lit up. Isn't that a double standard in a way?
Well, of course it is. Of course it is. There are some people who will never forgive LeBron for the decision. I think look, it wasn't good. It was poorly handled. It was bad. It was a bad idea. It was poorly handled. But I'm not going to judge anybody by the worst day of their life, or the worst decision they made in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just people who will never forgive him for leaving in the first place. And of course, there's lots of people who hold him. He doesn't have the reputation that Durant has. So even though they engage in similar behaviors, I mean, you didn't hear Durant saying, "Well, there's no way I will play for, Billy Donovan." Did you? I mean, he obviously signed off on that. He obviously was okay with it. So I think it's the same thing with Tyronn Lue and David Blatt. Clearly LeBron was more comfortable with Lue. And the proof's in the pudding.
The proof is in the You are correct in that front. David Aldridge of Turner Sports NBA TV joining me here. So how long do you think this is going to happen? Do you think it's going to be a quick tour for Durant, or he might take his time on this?
No, I mean, we got the schedule last night. So, he's meeting with Oklahoma City right now. He's got two teams on Friday, 2 teams on Saturday, and then Miami closes out on Sunday. My guess is he's not going to take very long. I think he sort of knows what he's going to do already. So I would imagine either Monday or Tuesday, I would think he would let people know what he's going to do. I don't think he wants to drag this out. There's no reason to. He's going to get max money no matter who's offering, with the possible exception of the Clippers. He knows the teams that are involved. So it's just a matter of meeting with all of them and talking to those players and those coaches to see if he feels comfortable with them and listening to how they see him locked into their teams. So I think he can take a couple of days once he's done with the last meeting and, figure it out. Talk to his family probably on Monday or it's 4th of July. Makes sense, right? Watch some fireworks, have some hot dogs, and then, come up on Tuesday morning ready to decide.
Did you see Isaiah Thomas tweeted out a picture from a ceremony honoring with the honoree being Durant's mom? Did you see that? That one happened at the Rainbow Room in New York on behalf. One imagines on behalf of the Knicks in some way, shape, or form. Did you see that one?
I mean, you can imagine that the recruiting tampering that goes on because it's players and not teams is amazing to me. But the league allows it, so have at it.
So if there are 2 teams he's meeting with on Friday, does it mean there's another owner with a Hamptons house for Durant? Is that what that means?
No, he'll just move them in and out, I guess, as the day goes on.
Okay.
I think it's Golden State. And I don't have the exact order for him. I think it's Golden State and the Clippers tomorrow, and then San Antonio and Boston on Saturday.
Well,
and then Miami on Sunday.
Okay.
But I might have that wrong.
Yeah, one might think Microsoft dollars would buy you a Hamptons house. I think so. That makes sense. That Ballmer would.
Probably know somebody else in the Hamptons. I would guess if he needs another spot.
Yeah, Ballmer. Yeah, Ballmer might have a place on the South Fork out there. You never know.
Exactly.
So who's the one free agent? Last one for you, David. Who's the one free agent we're not spending nearly enough time on this front?
Look, I think Al Horford's a pretty good player. A 4-time All-Star. I mean, he's not a big talker, but he's a pretty productive guy, and I think he could help a lot of teams. Whether it's Boston or someone else, or he stays in Atlanta. But I think there's going to be a lot of teams interested in him. Obviously, I saw the thing on Oklahoma City. I think there's probably some truth to that. I think he will be an immediate help to whoever he goes to, and a bigger help, I think, that people understand. He's a really good player, and he's probably by far. I mean, I like Whiteside, don't get me wrong, but I think Horford's a more complete player than Whiteside, and will be a bigger help to a team going forward.
And I lied. I have one last one for you. What do you make of Tim Duncan in San Antonio picking up an option? What does that mean?
It's just that's just a technicality, Rich.
Okay.
He could still retire. It doesn't mean he's coming back. I think he's going to. Tim's not going to. There will be no farewell tour. In fact, I don't think. I'll be surprised if he makes any announcement at all. I think he'll just, they'll just open training camp next year, and everybody will be like, "Where's Duncan?" I mean, he's just not going to do that sort of thing. If he decides to come back, it's short money for one more year, and if he doesn't, it's going to be very low key with not much fanfare. But he's just leaving himself the option to come back and play next year if he wants to.
David, thanks for the time. Have a great 4th.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks for doing this. You bet. That's David Aldridge. Love having him on.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.